There are two defenses to a charge of criminal attempt. They are impossibility and abandonment, and we'll look at both of those here. Impossibility involves a claim that because of a mistake of fact or law, or even a hybrid mistake of fact and law, the target crime could not have possibly been committed. Now, decades have been spent trying to distinguish between factual and legal impossibility. I defy anyone to explain it without causing further confusion, but the judge in People v. Thousand gets that, and he pretty much cuts through those distinctions. People v. Thousand is one of those cases that we've seen on To Catch a Predator on Dateline. A guy thinks he's arranged to have sex with a minor. He agrees on a time and a meeting place. He shows up ready to have sex with a minor, only to find out that it was not a minor, and instead, in many cases, it was a grizzled old detective pretending to be someone online in order to catch this predator. Now, People v. Thousand, as I said, is one of those fact situations. And the question is, was it legally impossible for Thousand to have committed the offenses charged, thereby absolving him of criminal liability? But let's look at what happens with attempt and how it focuses on the intents of the actor, and the completion of the target crime is rendered irrelevant. Here are some examples. A person can still be guilty of attempted theft if he tries to pick someone's pocket and the pocket is empty. A person can still be guilty of attempted murder if he tries to shoot someone with an empty gun. A person can still be guilty of attempted receiving stolen property if the property is not stolen. And a person can still be guilty of attempted bribery of a juror if the person he tried to bribe is not a juror. Now, let's look at the power of an attempt charge from a prosecutor's perspective because of the way these charges work. It shall not be a defense to a charge of attempt that because of a misapprehension of the circumstances, it would have been impossible for the accused to commit the crime attempted. That's the PA Crimes Code. Now, this makes it simple, and it works. This is, as I said, the Pennsylvania's take on impossibility. It eliminates the need to wrestle with those factual and legal and hybrid impossibility distinctions, and it makes relatively short order of the impossibility defense when a defendant raises it. Now let's talk about abandonment. And for abandonment, we will look at a case, a Pennsylvania case, Commonwealth v. McCloskey. It is a case in which the defendant raised abandonment as a defense to an attempted escape charge. It's a great Pennsylvania case. It's a prison breach case, of course, and it turns on some facts. Now, at least when I read the facts, I think we have the defendant here dead to rights on an attempted escape, but that's not the way it went in court. As we can see, he confessed about 5 hours after attempting to escape to a guard and said that he just changed his mind because he thought of his family, got scared of the consequences. Of course, a siren had gone off indicating that there had been an attempted escape. He had cut through one fence and was between fences. He had one more to go when he decided to return to work and pretend as though it had not happened. The next day, he told the guard that, in fact, that's what he had done. He said he did not want to embarrass his family. Now, when I look at this, I don't see a big problem with finding that he had progressed from preparation to perpetration. He had a bag with his clothes in it. He had made his way through one fence and was getting ready to go through the other. However, the majority opinion of the court, for whatever reason, overturned his conviction on what I thought were questionable grounds, that his actions demonstrated that he was still only contemplating an escape, but had not yet begun attempting the act. Now, there's a great concurrence here by Judge Sircone, who was the president judge of Superior Court eventually, not at the time he heard this case. He was a Superior Court judge. He concurred in the result, but not with the reasoning. What you need to know about Judge William Sircone: he was a very kind and compassionate man. He's a Duquesne Law graduate. He sort of made his bones as a prosecutor during the Red Scare era, prosecuting alleged communists. He got a lot of play as a result of that activity. He was quite successful. And he saw the perpetration line here as being way too malleable. He said it's usually shaped by the courts as they saw fit in order to make it justify where they wanted to be in terms of their decision. He believed that's what the majority did here. But he also believed that abandonment should be favored. This was a point at which abandonment was codified and adopted after this trial, and so it did not apply, at least in statutory terms. But Judge Sircone concurred in the result, if not in the reasoning of the majority, and he concluded that renunciation is an affirmative defense in Pennsylvania, and it contemplates the concept of abandonment. So here's the current PA statute on renunciation. We call it renunciation. It talks about abandonment. There's an assignment posted on attempt that you should finish and post by next Tuesday, just as you did last week. And next week we will begin to talk about conspiracy, which is a more complex version of an inchoate crime.